Okay, well, good morning, 7th grade. I hope you're doing well. Here, we are going to start a new lesson. We are already on 10.7. So if you want to follow along, this is around page 460. What we're going to be talking about today is called histograms, okay? Histogram. Now, a histogram is very similar to what we've been doing with the graphs, but it is simply this. It is a graph with no space between the bars. Okay, it is a graph with no space between the bars. Sorry, this no is a little rough there. Graph with no space between the bars. And then, to make it more complicated, the intervals are on the number line. So it's a graph with no space between the bars, but then it also has intervals on the bottom axis. Okay, if you need to pause it and write that down, go ahead and do that. Here's what that actually means for us. So I'm going to put one on the screen because that's really confusing. It doesn't really make sense. So here comes a picture, which will make sense, hopefully, for you. So this is a histogram. Okay, now you see right here, do you see this 7 to 14, 15 to 22, right? Do you see that this is the cost and it's a range, okay? So anything in this whole blue area represents 7 to 14, okay? Anything. Anything in this whole area represents 15 to 22. Anything in this whole area represents that, and this whole area represents that. Look, 0 are in that category, right? You see there's nothing there. But do you see how these are all against each other? They're all touching. That's why it is a histogram, okay? So I'm going to clear all that off. Now, it's the same because look up here. You see this is the number, again, on this side. We could say how many parks are at $15 to $22? Well, it's in between 6 and 8, so we're going to say 7, right? That's not very hard to understand. How many are here? 5. How many are here? 4. How many are here? 2, right? So we read it the exact same way, but they're just close together, and this is a range. Now, is this one 7 or 14? We don't know. It could be both. Is this a park that's $10? Yes. But if it was a park that was $16, where would that be? It'd be in this one. A park that was 25, it would be in that one, right? A park that was 42, it would be in this one, right? A park that was 34 would be in the one that we don't have a category, right? So that's just how it's grouped. This is called an interval down here on the bottom. All of those represent an interval. Okay, now what's important to know about this, I'm going to clear this and reinsert the picture. What's important to know about a histogram is that we can do some important statistics on the histogram itself, okay? So one of the first things we need to know is, let me turn this, come on, is how many parks are represented, okay? This is theme parks. We need to know the total number of parks, okay? So this one was at 7. Does everybody see how that guy is at 7? The biggest one is 7. The smallest one is 5. This one right here is 4. And this one down here is 2. So I'm just going to add that up. 7 plus 5 plus 4 plus 2. This is 12 plus 6. So there were 18 total parks. Okay, did everybody see how we got that? We just added up each category, and that's how we got the total. Okay, we just added them together. Now, when we talk about mode for these things, the mode is the biggest interval, the tallest. So which one is the tallest in this problem? Well, that's pretty easy. It's this guy right here, right? It's 15 to 22. So the mode in this problem equals 15 to 22. That's how you write the answer, okay? The mode is always the tallest. Okay, so I'm gonna write that again. Mode equals tallest. Okay, if you need to pause it, go ahead and pause it because I'm gonna keep going. Now, when we talk about the range of this is very easy to find. It's still the smallest, or sorry, let me say it the other way just so you don't get confused. Range is still the largest minus the smallest. Okay, so in this problem, the biggest one is right here. It's 46. Does everybody see that? And the smallest one is right here. It's the 7. So the range is 46 minus 7, which is 39. So I'm going to erase this over here. So if you need to pause it, go ahead and pause it. The range equals 39. Okay? Range equals 39. So this over here, just so you don't get confused if you're looking at it, this is the total, is 18. The mode is 15 through 22, and the range is 39. Okay, now the hard one to find here is the median. Okay, so I'm going to clear all this. If you need to pause it, go ahead and pause it. Let me put our chart back on here. So if you remember, there are 18 of these little guys. Okay, so total is 18. 18 total. Now to find the median, we need to figure out which term that's going to be. So all we do is we take the number, so the median is the total divided by 2. Okay, the total divided by 2 in this case is 18 divided by 2, which is 9. Okay, so that means that it's going to be the 9th and the 10th term. Okay, so when it's an even number, we have to add 2 terms. So we take the one that we divided by and then the 10th term. Okay, so it's between the 9th and the 10th. It's the average of those two. So we got to figure out where is the 9th and the 10th term. Okay, so I come to my chart over here and I say and I start from the first part. How many are in the first one? 5. So is the 9th or 10th term right here in those first 5? The answer is no, it's not in the first 5. But how many are in the second one? 7. Okay, so I'm going to erase that and put a plus so you don't get confused. Plus 7. So in the first 2, how many are there? That's 12. Okay, does that include the 9 and the 10? Yes. So that means that it's in this one. See, it wasn't in the first one because this only had 5. But by the time we got to that guy, there were 12, which means that the 9th and 10th ones were in this one. So the median would equal 15 through 22. Okay? Now, if this had been an odd number, okay, so I don't want to throw you off, but if you need to pause it, pause it. If this doesn't help you, don't worry about it. Now, if this had been an odd number, like let's say that there were 19 total, I would do the same thing. I would divide by 2, 19 divided by 2, and what I would do before I would divide, I would do 19 plus 1 divided by 2. 19 plus 1 equals 20. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So I'd be looking just for the 10th term instead of for the 9th and 10th term, okay? So if it's an odd number, you just add 1. That's not very important. You guys can figure it out. I'm sure if you want to, you can count, but that's the easy way. So if it's odd, add 1. If even, you just divide, then add 1. Okay, you divide by 2, then add the 1, and you get both of those numbers. Okay, so even is going to have 2 medians in this type of problem, but it will only be 2 median numbers, and then you see which interval, like in that past example. Okay, so the only other thing that we need to figure out is, I'm going to clear this, so if that confused you, don't worry about it. I'm going to explain that more later. I'm going to get my picture back, and this is our last part of our lesson. So we're going to look at this right here. Now, let's say that they said this. They said, this was their question, what percent of parks cost at least $23? Okay, what percent of parks, so that's a very bad K, cost at least $23. Now let's look at our chart. This one does not cost $23, so we have to erase him. Nope. This guy does not cost $23. So which ones do? These. Now, how many is that? Well, I draw my line. I say that one's at 4 and that one's at 2. So how many parks cost at least $23? That's 6, but that's not a percent, right? That's 6 out of how many did we say there were total? If you remember back, if you have it in your notes, there were 18. What is 6 divided by 18? That's 1 over 3, which in a percent is 33%. Okay, 33% cost at least $23. Now I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to be done. I'm going to do another example one like that by inserting my chart. And then I got to wrap this up because it's getting long. So we have that guy. Now let's say that the question is, what percent are less than $15? Okay, well, this guy, he's more than 15. We can't count him. He's more than 15, and he's more than 15. So that means we're only looking at that one. And how many are that? That's 5. So I do 5 divided by the total, which is 18. Punch that in my handy-dandy calculator. I can do 5 divided by 18, and I get 27. I get 0.277, which equals 27.7%. Okay, hope that makes sense. That's all that we're gonna do for this lesson. So here is the homework, and we're gonna finish this lesson on Thursday, and then we'll be done before Easter. So that's the great part. So the homework is on page 463. This is 10.6, and we're gonna do numbers 1 through 23 all. Okay, a lot of them are just interpreting graphs, which I know you guys can do by using your good old brain power. So there we go. 1 through 23 all due on Thursday. Mr. H, over and out.